Gruesome discovery involving a missing Newark, Delaware woman.
Yeah, police say they found her dismembered remains inside a car after a days-long search that spanned 2 states.
And authorities were alerted by the victim's employer after she failed to show up to work.
Action News' Toronto Thomas just spoke with neighbors in the victim's apartment complex. She's live now from the Newcastle County Police Department with the latest on this investigation and what they found today. Toronto.
Okay, hello and welcome. Today I'm gonna be looking at an interesting, well, not interesting, this is a sad story I'm using as an example, but an interesting scenario in which many immigrant relationships in America either end up in divorce or they end up in a very tragic circumstance like this case that we're about to look at. Now, before we begin, please consider liking and subscribing. Also leave a comment. Just tell me what you think. Let's go to the video.
Well, this is still an active investigation for Newcastle County Police. They are looking to the public for tips, but they think they have their man, a man who is now accused of a disturbing crime.
I know it's a very horrible situation.
A horrific crime that residents of this quiet apartment complex can't believe. One of their neighbors murdered and dismembered.
I think that this is just a really sad thing to know about.
31-year-old Tracy Nyariki's employer contacted police Friday after she hadn't shown up to work in days. They arrived at her apartment in the 2700 block of Stone Place in Newark and found suspicious circumstances that were concerning enough for Newcastle County Police to issue an alert for her disappearance. Detectives identified 32-year-old Norbert Matara as a potential person of interest and tracked him to Maryland. With help from Aberdeen police, at around 5 p.m. Saturday in Aberdeen, Maryland, authorities found Matara's vehicle with dismembered body parts of the victim inside.
Okay, so just to set the record straight or to make it clear, these two people are basically African immigrants. They are, I believe, from Kenya based on, well, the woman's bracelet. I can recognize that from anywhere. She's from Kenya. The guy's name also sounds Kenyan. Now, we're going to go back to the video, but real quick, why I'm talking about this issue is, as an immigrant, especially from Africa, coming to America, it is something that I have seen so many times where relationships, once, let's say the couple, African couple, moves to America, things go south real fast. Reason being that most relationships in Africa are very different from America. The way things are is very different. When the ladies come to America, from what I've been told, they change. They change and they do adapt to the Western standards of living, which is, of course, expected. Now, in the Western standards of living, the ladies have lots of rights, they have a voice, they have, all these things that they could not really do back in Africa, but now they are having that right, they're having the voice to do it, and that drives some of the men extremely, it drives them crazy, basically. So that causes a lot of friction because now the wife or the girlfriend can now work and they don't need anymore, because most relationships in Africa are that way. The guy normally works for the most part, except in the cities where both work, but for the most part the man is the provider, is the sole provider. But once they arrive in America, it's a level playing field of sorts in terms of, being able to work and provide for yourself. And also, I'm gonna say it, there is feminism. There is feminism in America and in Europe, in the Western world. There is feminism. There's a lots of rights, and there are different levels, different waves of feminism. Whether you like feminism or not, that's not the point here. The point is, these people, they jump into a new culture where they are now forced to adapt and adjust to it. And I've seen many instances where even forget about the culture. I've seen many instances where the people divorce or they leave each other basically because they want to date different people now. There are not many white people in Africa, unless you live like in South Africa or other countries. There are not many white people. There are not many Hispanics. I don't even think that I had ever seen a Hispanic person until I arrived in America. And America has people from all the races. So when they arrive here, and let's say the lady wants a white guy, or the guy wants to, date a white woman, and the ones Hispanic, things like that, they're looking at this guy. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I married this cow. That's how Africans can talk. I'm an African, I know how they talk. I can't believe I married this cow. That's shout out to my Nigerians. I can't believe I married this cow, and they're gonna want more. It's human nature. That's how it is. They find it kind of exotic, so they want to go out and experience more, experience life. Some, they come out and they are free to do. There's a lot of freedom in the Western world. America has its issues, but we cannot deny America has a lot of freedom in terms of being able to, live whatever you want to live, the way you want to live. Especially for women, there's a lot of freedom. That's the truth. So most African perspective of a relationship cannot work here, because what the man says goes in Africa most of the times, and that does not work in America. In America, it's basically the opposite to what the woman says goes. So when that happens, there is lots of issues. Now in this case, this guy, I believe I think I read somewhere that he was already like a sex offender registry, so it was a mistake on the lady's part, no victim blaming, but the guy had a red flag from the beginning. But this is a way extreme case, but it was the most recent case I could use. Back to the video.
I saw the police here since Saturday, so I just figured it was something regular, and that's heartbreaking.
Matara was in the vicinity of that vehicle. He was arrested immediately. Police have not given details on the exact nature of his relationship to the victim, but they do say the two were known acquaintances. As police continue to gather evidence at the apartment, neighbors are haunted by the disturbing discovery.
That's a horrific situation, and we're just going to pray for the family, and our condolences.
The suspect is still at a holding facility in Maryland, but when he is extradited back here to Delaware, he will be arraigned on felony charges of first-degree murder.
Basically, the guy is a wrap for him. He's a wrap because America does not play, especially American prison system. He's gonna get life for sure. It's not like, the Scandinavian countries where you can go and do all these terrible things, and then you get 10 years, and then on top of that, you are in prison, you have a television, and you get to exercise, you get to see a therapist, and it's like rehabilitation. No, America reminds me of that show. What's the TV show? What's it called? Oz. American. Yeah, the prison show, they're gonna mess you up there. Yeah, it's the worst thing that can happen to you. Of course, the guy deserves it. He deserves it. What he did to the woman is unconscionable. It's very, 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 very bad, extremely bad. But what I'm trying to say, the whole point of this thing was probably, this is just me guessing, this guy was angry that the woman maybe did not want to be with him, and he went and did these nasty things. Reason why I'm thinking that is because that happens a lot in some countries in Africa. I don't want to generalize, don't come for me. But in some countries in Africa, when the guy does not, is angry of a rejection or whatever, they just go and do these terrible things to the woman. Now, this guy already was a red flag already, like I mentioned. So when he went and did all these nasty things, he's gonna get the worst penalty for his actions. But this happens. The whole point of this video is how African relationships are in America. I'm gonna go more in depth with a better in depth. No, not in depth. I'm thinking of something else. I'm gonna go more in deeper in these relationship scenarios of between immigrants in America, the difficulties they face in dating, with a more happier video. This was too dark even for me, so apologies for being too dark, but that's what I wanted to say. This was an African, two Africans who knew each other, and then they did this terrible thing to this woman, and now she's, RIP to the victim. Please consider liking, subscribing. I'll see you on the next one, and share this on all the networks. See ya.
Oh my goodness, all the networks! Wow! All the networks!